Hello, composition and literature students. We are here today to talk about William Faulkner's classic short story, A Rose for Emily. First, a few words on William Faulkner. Maybe one of America's top writers, definitely top shelf on the shelves of American literature. Really a genius, which means he's pretty hard to read. His style of writing was new. It was avant-garde. It's not start at point A, go to B, C, D, E, F, G, story ends. He jumps around a lot, changes voices. It's difficult, but it's a different way of getting inside characters and getting inside of readers, right? Maybe it's more lifelike, because our lives are complicated. So writing literature, it should be complicated in some ways. But he really considered a genius. He must be, because I can't understand a lot of his novels, and I'm not stupid. But I like the short stories because they're a little smaller and you can read them 4 or 5 times and, oh yeah, this is what's going on here. This story does deal with one of his most important themes, that the past is always with us. The past is always with us. Whatever we're shaping in the present, whatever we're doing, we're actually shaping the past into something. And Emily is very much affected by her past, and so she holds on to things and doesn't want to let them go. I'm going to look at some of the questions that you guys asked me about this. First one, why did she refuse to give up her father's dead corpse? Well, important thing. Let's just work through Papa Grierson. The townspeople, by the way, this story is written in the first person or first people point of view. The town is telling the story. The town is telling the story. They had always imagined Emily and her father as a tableau, like a frozen moment. Miss Emily, a slender figure in white, purity, white alert. Purity in the background, her father a spraddled silhouette in the foreground. His back to her clutching a horsewhip, the two of them framed by the back-flung front door. So what's implied in this imaginary tableau, the father didn't let any guys get near his daughter, period. And William Faulkner said this himself in an interview. He said, Emily's a woman who was denied the natural course of womanhood, right? She was denied suitors, so she was denied marriage, she was denied children, denied having a regular sort of household, right? Emily ain't gonna be no soccer mom driving a minivan because her dad cut her off from that. And the father shows up a few times in the story, so excellent that that came up here right off the bat. There's a crayon portrait, not like a Crayola, but a portrait of him in the house that's always watching. And at the end, Emily's body, and people's bodies were laid out in the house, in the parlor, before there were funeral homes or funeral parlors. People did it in their house. And her father's portrait, it's written right in the story here, is musing profoundly over the scene. So it's if the father is still alive. Let's just cut right to a very serious matter. Listen to me. You know this, I know this. Some of the most important people in your life are dead. It's okay. Hopefully they lived very long lives. Hopefully it was a grandparent who lived to be 90 and died and is so important to you to this day. So think about that. Some of the most important people in your life are gone. Again, hopefully they lived long and good lives, but sadly some of them probably didn't. But they're still so close to you. And they influence you. So when Faulkner has this portrait of the father sort of musing at the end, as if it's alive, the father's long dead, the symbolism is that the past is always with us. Anyone we knew is always with us. And, you guys know that. You guys know that. When Miss Emily, when her father died, she kept him around for a few days. And as Faulkner put it so nicely, she would have to cling to that which had robbed her, as people will. So it's almost like clinging to some sort of abusive relationship. And he was seemingly only abusive in that he kept all the men away. But the point is, she hung on to what had the person who had robbed her of a life, right? A normal Southern woman's life. She didn't have that money. Yeah, she was hard up on money, and Colonel Sartoris remitted her taxes. So this story takes place over like 38 years. And Colonel Sartoris remits her taxes very early in that long time period. And he told her, this was a lie, but he told her he did it because the town owed her dad money. Not true. The town is looking out for her. So they make up a story why she doesn't have to pay her taxes. Don't try this at home, folks. They'll just take your house away. But here in Jefferson, this town that Faulkner made up, they remit her taxes with a lie because they're looking out for her. They're looking out for her. Until the new generation of city authorities come in, and then they come looking for the tax money, and they tell them to go see Colonel Sartoris, even though he's been dead for 10 years. Time in Emily's head is a mix. It's not a line, right? Time is all messed up in her head and in the story and in all of us, right? We'll get back to that in a little bit. So Emily does want a man, and she winds up with Homer Barron. And Homer is in town just for a little bit, right? He's not in town for too long. He's a foreman on a traveling sidewalk building crew. And let's face it, Homer Barron is the last person her father would ever want her to date. He probably would be even more mad if it was a black man. But we have a worker, right? Not a Southern gentleman. And a Northerner, a Yankee, right? And this is who her boyfriend is, and who she kills and sleeps with a dead body for over 30 years. Did you catch that part? She slept with a dead body for over 30 years. Interesting. Interesting, isn't it? Okay. So, let's see, what else do we have here on your questions? Yeah, Homer is in the bed. Homer. Why does she poison Homer? He's going to leave, right? Some people think, and I think there was a question here about that Homer's gay. I don't know if Homer's gay or not gay, but it does come up in the story that he's not the kind of guy who's going to get married. He liked men. It was known that he drank with the younger men in the Elks Club, that he was not a marrying man. So gay or not gay, he's not marrying her, and when the sidewalk is done, the crew is leaving. Well, Emily decides she's going to keep her man. So she kills him and keeps him and clings to him. Pause button. Now, Emily really is a very strong person, right? I asked some of you if you admired her. I think there's a lot of strength in Emily. I think Emily's very actually masculine in a lot of ways. I'm telling you, she's no Southern lady. I know Southern ladies. I've spent time in the South. I'm married to a Southern lady. She lived in the North a long time. Emily ain't no Southern lady. When the city authorities come in to get the money around 1910, long after Homer's been killed and he's been upstairs for decades, she does not ask them to sit. She's rude to them. She cuts the pharmacist off 4 times when she's buying the arsenic, right? Men cut women off in conversations, not women cutting men off most often. Yes, Miss Emily, what kind of poison? For rats, I want the best you have. The druggist named several. They'll kill anything up to an elephant. But what you want is arsenic. Arsenic, yes ma'am, but I want arsenic. And then she stares at him. Silence is very strong. Emily knows how to use silence. Emily knows how to use silence. I guarantee you that. Okay. So she gets the poison and everybody in town thinks she's going to kill herself. Because that's what women attempt. Women attempt suicide much more often than men. Men tend to be more successful at it, but women attempt suicide. What does Emily do? She doesn't kill herself, she murders. Men certainly murder much, much more than women do. So Emily has a lot of male characteristics in the story. Speech-wise, she cuts men off. She does not ask the men who come in to sit down. She doesn't chat with them like a Southern lady would. She murders and does not kill herself. A man does what little housework is happening in the house, and she's the head of her household. By the way, she buys Homer a comb and a brush and a mirror, a toilet set, not a toilet seat, though monogrammed, a toilet seat with your initials on it would be cool. She buys him a toilet set, so a brush, a comb, a mirror, something a man usually buys a woman, right? And she buys him like a nightshirt, like pajamas that men used to wear. She wears the pants, right? Emily has had to give up this role of Southern woman, Southern belle, and very much taken on the role of a guy. And is that Simon back there? Simone, how are you, buddy? You hanging out? Yeah, it's a good cat. It's a good cat right there. Very good cat right there. You get that paper clip, buddy. Okay. So anyway, Emily gets the poison because Homer's going to leave, and she kills him. And then the town smells the smell, and they go throw some lime in the yard. Now, lime is good to kill smell of a decaying body, only if you put it on the body. Putting it in the yard does not help. And then guess what? Time passes. Time passes. Time passes. Over 30 years go by. Kids still take china painting lessons from her, right? Then Miss Emily dies. And guess what? They bury her and they go straight to the room where they think Homer is. I didn't know this. This never dawned on me until a student said it in class. The town knew the whole time that she killed him and he was upstairs, or at least they suspected it, right? They knew she bought poison and didn't kill herself. Homer disappears, there's a smell, and they go straight to that room after she's buried, respecting her, to see if they were right, and they were. So the question, right, all you criminal justice majors out there, why didn't they do something? Well, first of all, hey, he's just a Yankee. They liked Homer, right? They liked him. But he's just a Yankee. And you know what? 20 years before, they were shooting Yankees as much as they could during the Civil War. So who cares about Homer, right? Secondly, I think they're a little scared of Emily. You talk to her. No, you talk to her. The judge is like, we can't tell a lady she stinks. So they sneak in there at night and throw lime. And they're still scared because they see her silhouette in the window. And you know what? She may be a bit of a freak, but she's their freak. She's their town eccentric woman, right? You might have a family member. Maybe it's you. I don't know. You might have a family member. Simone. You might have a family member that everybody in the family is like, oh man, cousin so-and-so. Oh, what a weirdo. Is cousin so-and-so coming? I can't stand it. Someone outside the family insults cousin so-and-so, and you're like, hey, that's my cousin, watch out. Well, Emily is sort of everybody in town's cousin, sort of, right? They look out for her, as people do in small towns. And even after they try to get taxes from her, the new generation, they apparently give up when she sends them out the door packing. So we'll pick up in part 2 of our Rose for Emily discussion, and I'll see you in a minute.